Hi, I'm Crazy Mama, and I'd like to welcome you to a new segment on my YouTube channel, which will be called Crazy Mama's Life Hacks. I'm coming up with different ideas about things that I've learned along the way in my life that would make my life easier had I figured them out sooner. And some of them are going to be as simple as the fact that whenever you have a vacuum cleaner, you really do need to change the bag, to bigger things like things that have helped make things easier with my son who has ADHD, or just having 6 kids in general, things to make your life easier. Tonight I'm going to share one, and it's not a real deep one, but some of them will be deeper than others. This one I think of at this time of the year because this is the time of the year where those graduation parties come. I do not have anyone graduating from school this year, which is amazing because I've had three graduations and one wedding. So it's been really, really busy. This year I happen to not have any, but one thing that I've learned as I've gone through these graduations is that whenever you get to their graduation and you're going to have a party, all of a sudden you're in a panic because it's like, oh no, I have to get all these pictures together, certificates, all this kind of stuff. Well, I've evolved over time, and I'd say that if you only have 1 or 2 children, you might be able to establish perfection, and you might be able to have that perfect scrapbooks and perfect details about all the accomplishments that your child has had that will make it so easy for you to fill out all those college applications and scholarship applications and things. But generally, the more children you have, the harder it is to maintain such perfection. And anyhow, what I first did whenever my kids were little is I started out with books like these. And these books are really, really nice. They have pockets where you put in certificates and things, and then each year there's questions to fill out. And, you know, for me, this got worse each time. This one is actually pretty good because my daughter actually was interested enough to go through and fill out a lot of it. I thought each year I'd fill out this thing with great detail and information, but I did not. But anyhow, you start out, you have their picture, you fill out the questions. So you can see that with my daughters, we went, you know, pretty diligently. Made it all the way up to, you know, the pouty years. But then it kind of quit. She actually went back and filled out some of this for when she was in middle school and a little bit from high school, but basically fail. And with my next child, let me see. Yeah. Oh, here. Oh, my next one, you know, I started out strong with his cute little face. Didn't stay strong very long. And since he didn't go back, whoop, see, it's falling out. Since he didn't go back and fill it out, not much got filled out. Just basically a few pictures and certificates in here. Not very well organized. His graduation party's over. Maybe someday I'll finish it. Probably not with much detail. Then it got even worse with Charlie, and he's a junior now, but here's his beginning. Hardly any information. Didn't make it very far. But anyhow, these are nice if you can keep up with it. But after my 3rd graduation party, I got this fabulous idea. One thing that this doesn't do for you is it's mainly just for school things, but like if your kids are like mine, they're probably in 4-H and maybe in, you know, whatever their interest is, you know, baseball teams, soccer teams, all that kind of stuff. And that really doesn't fit well in something like this. And if you're like me, you probably have a drawer or a cupboard where you just throw all their certificates and awards. And the more kids you have, the more complex that gets. Here's a pile of mine that has not yet been put in, whoever's it is, from before. But I have not added to this pile for this whole 1.5 years since I figured out this other easier way to do this. And that is that and these will be growing because when I go through this, I'm going to throw some of it in here. But I just bought a binder. And this is one of our school colors. So, you know, it'll look nice when graduation comes. And I'm probably going to end up with one for up through middle school and then another one for high school. But for now, this one is Charlie's. And what I do is just anytime, I just have this ready, and I have a pile, a spot where I keep them, and instead of throwing them up in my cupboard in this giant heap that I have yet to fix, I have this, and I have extra pockets. I bought these things that people use to make reports, and I bought a pack of them at Walmart, and I put them in these binders, and I have one for each of the three, what I call my three little boys, and none of them are really little, but I got a binder for each of them, and there's another one down there, and as I get their awards, I put them in. And then one of the nice things about this kind of a thing is if you end up finding something that belonged somewhere else, you can just pop one of these holders in where you left it and pop it in there, and it's all in order. Another thing that's really nice, rather than these, is you can see the certificates. So whenever you need to fill out information, you'll know, oh yeah, he did this, he did that, he did that, he accomplished this. And it's just a lot easier because you don't have to pull them all out and look at them and shove them back in. But anyhow, I just, at the end of the school year, which is coming up, I'll be adding to this, I just throw all their certificates and even things from school like homecoming picture, special awards. And then this is another thing I did is whenever we have like an extra special thing, like this is a big event in our community where the sophomores at our school make boats out of cardboard and duct tape. And so I made a nice collage, and I did this just by ordering the pictures in a collage so that I didn't have to decorate or glue or anything. And I just slid it in here. It fits perfect, and it records that event. But here I even put, whenever my son earned his letter, I stuck it in here. My kids don't have Letterman jackets. At least none of them have so far. They didn't want one enough for me to invest that kind of money in it. And then here, he just got this little letter for debate. So I just shove it in here, won an award in debate. This is from this year. Another thing is you can shove in all the, you can put their grade cards. Like if you don't want it to show, you can just slide it in between certificates from that year. I'm probably going to at least display in here the final year-end grade card, but that's his. I'll show you a tiny bit more in one of these because I did a little bit more. These kids, Nathan and Sammy, are active in, oh, here's, like, you could put other things. Like, here's Awana, and here's 4-H. I made in 4-H, you're supposed to keep track every year of the projects that they were in, because at the end of 4-H, they could apply for scholarships through 4-H. And instead of like keeping some strange compilation of them, I took pictures of Nathan with his projects that he did that year. And then I'm able to remember that year, those are the projects he took. And here he earned another award in archery. So I have all these different things, and there I stuck baseball, all these different things right where I can see them, right where I don't have to pull them out and lose them, and it keeps a good record. And I might as well show you a little bit more because this one's Sammy's. I even stuck in, like, when they're in a play, the little program from it, class pictures each year. I'm shoving them in there. And that way it just shows how they grow. Little newspaper article where he was in. Here's a year-end final grade card. And here, diving certificate. So these are the different things that he's been involved in. Here was his 4-H. And this puts all the things he was in that year. Spelling bee, music, special things he was in with Music Federation and things. So you're able to keep all the different varieties so that it's like keeping records and having it right there where you can see it, and you'll be able to display it at their party. For their graduation party, you can just sit it out there and open it up. And if you have time to make it fancy everything, at least it's all in order in this book. And when you want to make a beautiful little scrapbook, you can just pull the things out that you want to put in it, and the rest of the things can stay in here. So then one other thing that I did, which I'll add to this life hack, is I used that idea, whenever my first child was born, and I've done this with all my kids, is I have a little journal that I write in all about them. And with my first child, I have like 5 of them, and with my second, like 4, and then with my third, like 2, and then the next ones are like 1. And I try to write down information about them and to remember them. But one thing that's really a cool idea is if any time you send out a family Christmas card or wedding announcements or graduation announcements, if you save 1 copy for each kid. I was stuffing those up in the cupboard too. Like every year when I send out a Christmas card, I write a Christmas letter. So the letter always has something about each one of the kids in it, and I have a picture. Well, I've now taken this idea in red for Christmas, red or green, and I've stuffed 1 copy of the Christmas letter from each year with the Christmas picture. And so the kids I'm giving one of these to each of my children, and I'm making one for myself, so that the kids, when I'm long gone or when they have children, if they want to be able to remember things about their life as they were growing up, if they just read their Christmas letters, they're at least going to have a pretty good outline of a lot of the things that they did as they were growing up. So whether or not they got 5 journals or 1 journal of their own, they're all going to have all these Christmas letters to show how they've grown, and there's a picture of them in every one to show how they've changed from year to year. And like I said, this one I don't just have Christmas, I also tuck in like family graduations, and I even have a few here. I'm going to be adding some pages for whenever we have close family members and close friends who pass away. I'm going to keep their little cards for them. I have their cards for them, but I'm going to put those in there too. So anyhow, I hope you enjoyed that first little episode of Crazy Mama's Life Hacks, and I hope that it gave you some ideas on how to make your life easier and to not get a mess like this that you have to sort through, which I am going to try to get this stack put away so that I no longer need that place in that cabinet for this, and I can start to use it for what it was really meant for. But anyhow, I'll talk to you later. Bye.